Well, good afternoon everybody. It's now Thursday the 8th of August and just thought I'd show you around the plot. I've got my timings a little bit out this year, but I'm not overly worried about it. I'm taking precautions because we've got extremely strong winds due tomorrow, so I've been getting some extra support posts in, and I've just got a few more to finish off today in a little while. But these are, I've let a few of the miniatures flower early, just to gauge the new ground and to see if I need to fiddle about with the disbudding accordingly. And some of the early blooms I hadn't disbudded, but they've come up quite small, some of them, so I've gone back to my old system of removing the wing buds. And if there's only one wing bud, I'm removing the one and the next pair down. So I know I'll get a few oversized, but I should still find plenty that'll go through the dreaded rings. Anyhow, these just are a few of the miniatures. Start off at the bottom here. I've got Jasudi Andromeda, which I tried last year, but it came daisy-eyed for me on my old plot. And it's done exactly the same this year, even with new stock. So that one will be almost certainly for the bin next year. I've got a few imposters in amongst them. These are going to be some Kilburn Glow water lilies. Another week or so yet for those. And I've got just some Jasudi Telstar. It's the first year I've grown that, which is looking quite promising. Then Jasudi Hercules and Western Buccaneer up the end. Beyond those I've got Carol Spanish Dancer and Western Spanish Dancer, which I use for my display work. And then there's 4 plants of Mary's Germander, which sneaked in a gap, and then some Western Pirate. Again, I've let them flower early just to gauge the sizes, so now I'll fiddle about with them. I've disbudded them all this morning, so they'll come good for the end of the month. Now onto the miniature decks and miniature ball. I've got a bed of Polventon Cristobal, about 20 plants, and then Marston Suzanne up the end, and 6 plants I think of a small ball called Blighton Merriman, which I thought I'd lost last year or a couple of years ago, but managed to find an old tuber on my old tuber bed, and I thought I'd give it another go. It's a small ball, and hopefully it will come good this year. The plants are looking lovely. And then the miniature ball, I've got some Dave's Choice, which again I'm letting a few flower early for some early shows. I'm going to strip the rest back over the next few days, but it's looking promising. But it's one of those ones where the centre's either there one day and gone the next, so yeah, not going to be easy finding 5, I don't expect. And up the end there, my Blighton Lady in Red, which are looking fantastic. And then Mary's Germander and Germander, which again I've let a few flower early, just taking the wing buds just to see on the size how they're going to grow on this new ground. But going to wing buds and the next pair, it should be fine. Got a lot of bloods coming, and hopefully they'll see me through all the shows. Then on to water lilies, which I know flower early, and they've been in flower for the last week or two, and I think I'll struggle at the end of the season for numbers, but still got plenty coming, and hopefully they'll be fine for the next few weeks of shows. Taratahi Ruby there, with Pam Howden up the back and 4 plants of Cameo at the end, and then some Gwyneth, and just a few poms. I don't do a lot of poms, but there's Ivors Rhonda and a few Irish Glow up the end. And then finally on this side is my Rycroft Zoe and Greenway Zoe, which again I've let flower early. I did stop a lot and knock a lot back, but I let a lot come just to get the size right, because it can be a pain to get through the rings. So but it's looking quite good. So but the flowers, I've got to make them last for about the next, I don't know, 7 consecutive weekends. So and they're pretty much cut and come again flowers, so there's plenty to come, even though there looks like there's a lot now. I'll be cutting plenty for the weekend, and they'll be coming for the next few weeks, no problem. For any of you that grow late chrysanths, these are all the lates I've got. They're all medium and large singles and anemone type chrysanths. Pretty much all the Kath Stevens family of medium late singles, and all the Warman's Glories, and a selection of anemones from the Anderton family and the Mundial family. I've moved them yesterday. They were over the other side of the plot, but they hadn't got any support, so when the wind blows they were going to fall over, which they did the other week. So I've now got some supports in this spare bit of land, and tied them all up yesterday in preparation from the storm that's going to come tomorrow. Well, under what will be the covered area, I've got a double row of giants, just 2 plants of each, just trialling them this year, see how I get on. I've not really done giants much before. Not really worried about the timing of them. If they are any use for a show, then I'll put them in, but I just wanted to see how they grow on this new ground. Then I've got a double row, about 34 plants of Kenora Challenger, and yeah, I'm going to have a few early blooms, but plenty coming. I've secured a lot of buds so far, but still more to come. They're looking quite reasonable, I think. I've never had much luck with it, but I thought I'd give it a go on this new ground, see how I get on. I'm growing them all between 4 and 5 up. Some are 4s, some are 5s. Then I've got some Hillcrest Candy, bit up and down. I've got some nice plants, and then 1 or 2 not so nice plants, but they're looking okay on the whole. And then I've got some Kenora Valentine, which I'm trying to spread the blooms out over the next few weeks of shows, starting from bank holiday weekend really, so hopefully there'll be plenty there. I don't need many for each show, so hopefully they look like I've staggered them pretty well. That side I've got some Rycroft Helen, a little bit up and down plants, but they're getting there. I've not grown it before, so we'll see what they do. Then on to the wonderful Kenora Sunset, a severely underrated flower, and one of the brightest, most fantastic medium semi-cactuses available. But yeah, it gets severely underrated at the main shows, but nothing like a bit of colour. So yeah, one to look out for. Plenty of buds coming. Always a highlight on my display stand, and yeah, a fantastic flower. Then I've got some small decoratives. I've got 1 or 2 imposters. I've got a couple of Rycroft Zoes got in there somehow, I'm not sure how. But then I've got some Winholm Diane with some Blighton Everest up the end. And then I've got Happit Diane and a few Primrose Diane. And then, get past all my supports here. Then I've got some Cheval Megan, which are looking quite nice. And over the back there's some Oakwood Goldcrest, which a bit up and down, not particularly happy with them, but there's a few reasonable plants coming along. They're always a short grower, but yeah, not they're getting there slowly. Happy Dianes are looking quite nice. Not grown that before. Not been any good at the small decks on my previous ground, but these are looking okay. I thought I'd show you all the good things and the bad things, and this is the bad one. This is Hillcrest Jersey. I've got three reasonable looking plants, and the rest of them are for the bin. They've got something wrong with them, some sort of virus. They're just stunted, and they've got to go. But I didn't just want to show you all the good bits. You know, there's always a problem or two in amongst the plants, but that one is. It seems that variety does seem susceptible to virus, so probably one for the bin this year. Certainly, I'm going to rip all those out later today. This is one of my little trials areas, which unfortunately has been a bit neglected. I've got to get in here this afternoon and cane some plants up before the winds arrive. But this is Westerton Ella Grace, which is a lovely looking flower. I'm wondering if it's going to go through the ring comfortably. For me, it's a lovely stocky plant, cracking size plant, but they look a bit big blooms, but we shall see. But a beautiful colour, beautiful form, and hopefully one for the future. Just quickly scroll past some of these because, like I say, the wind's got hold of some of them last week, and I've got a lot of work to do on them. That's some more of those Jasudi Telstar and Jasudi Polaris. They're not necessarily new varieties, some old varieties, but I just wanted to see how they would grow on the island. And here's some Eastwood Moonlight and some White Moonlight, and they're looking. I haven't really done a lot with them, haven't restricted them too much, but they're looking quite tidy. I think maybe the slightly cooler conditions on the island may suit them, so definitely one to look at for the future. This is just my stock bed where I've chucked all my old tuber stock, or at least, well, I've chucked two tubers of each variety out on there, just really to get some early blooms for some of the early shows out here on the island. A lot of the shows on the island seem to run from sort of mid-July through to early August or mid-August, so too early for most of the plants. I'm timing for the end of the month, so try and get a few blooms off of these. There's plenty coming, and I should be using some of these at the weekend, no doubt. And this is the last of my trials areas. Just got a bit of a mixed bag. Couldn't really tell you what's in there. There's some fimbriated ones and some other bits and pieces. It's quite a nice looking fimbriated coming along there. And like I say, one or two that I've grown before, just seeing how they get on down here, but mostly new ones. There's a bloom of Susan Gilbert, which was the plant was given to me by the late Susan Gilbert's sister, who lives on the island. So I thought I'd give it a go. This is Jasudi Aurora, which is definitely one, unfortunately, for the bin. Just doesn't produce a decent bloom. It showed a lot of promise early on, but then the blooms just sort of go like that. Horrible. So yeah, not one I shall grow again. This is Jasudi Sunburst, which I think is a lovely bicolour. Lovely one for basket work. Not one for the purists on the show bench, and difficult to get through the 4-inch ring, but a lovely bloom none the same. I've got 3 plants of Blight and Softer Gleam. Haven't had any luck with that for a few years, so I've got some new stock in. So hopefully that'll be nice. And this last one is Holly Hills Arena, which I've been told is a tall one, and it's certainly pushing 5 foot already. So yeah, not grown it before, but it's looking quite reasonable. Another few days on that one yet. And that's it. See you soon.